أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 174, Surah Al-Muminun, ayah number 51 to 90. يا أيها الرسل, O messengers, كلوا من الطيبات, eat of the good things, وَاعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا, and also do righteous deeds. Why? Because إِنِّي بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ, indeed I, of whatever you do, am knowing. In the previous ayat, we learned about the various prophets of Allah. That how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent one messenger after the other. ثُمَّ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا تَتْرَى, one after the other. And finally we learned about Isa alayhi salam. That how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had provided him and his mother a perfect lodging in this dunya, a perfect place to live in, which was ذَاتِ قَرَارٍ وَمَعِينٍ. And it was also a source of water for them, meaning there was also plenty of water. So, Ya ayyuhar rusulu, now the command is being given to all of the prophets of Allah. That, O ar-rusul, O messengers, kulu min at-tayyibat, eat of the good things. Which good things? That we have provided you. Because our religion is a religion of balance. It teaches us with regards to everything that is beneficial for us. Our deen does not promote monasticism, that a person abstains from the good things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided him with. So if the messengers are being addressed that eat of the good things, then what does it mean for their followers? That they should also enjoy the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to them. Some have said that Ya ayyuhar rusul, over here the address is to the messengers, but in fact through them, their people, their are being addressed. That the messengers were told to do this, but through them, in fact the command is being given to who? To their to their nations. It is directed to their followers. So this address was to Musa alayhi salam and his to Isa alayhi salam and his to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his as well. Others have said that Ya ayyuhar rusul, over here the address is to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam only. And others have said that this address is to Isa alayhi salam only. Why? Because in the previous ayah who was mentioned? Isa alayhi salam. And this Quran was revealed to who? To the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because when this ayah was revealed, obviously all of the messengers were not present at that time. All of the messengers had gone by then. So some have said that this command is actually only to the Prophet ﷺ, and the plural is actually for ta'zeem. It is for honor and respect. And others have said that no, all of the prophets of Allah were given this command in their respective times. When they were sent, they were given this command. They were addressed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this way. That Ya ayyuhar rusul, O messengers, kulu min at-tayyibat, eat of the good things. And as you know that at-tayyibat includes all things that are good, that are beneficial, that are halal, permissible, and they're also suitable for a person. So eat of the good things. وَاعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا, and also do righteousness. Meaning also do righteous good deeds. So use the best, eat the best, and also do the best. Because there is a deep connection between eating good and doing good. If a person eats well, only then he can do well. And if a person does not consume proper food, if he does not eat good food, then definitely it is going to have an effect on his behavior, on his actions, on his productivity. So, kulu, and then wa'malu. Eating right comes first, and then good actions follow that. Because if a person does not eat properly, he will not be able to perform good actions. إِنِّي بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ, indeed I am with whatever that you do, I am knowing of it. And therefore I will recompense you for what you have done. So we see that on the one hand, taking is mentioned, eat. And on the other hand, giving is mentioned, i'malu. Both are necessary. That where we are receiving the blessings of Allah, where we are enjoying one blessing after the other, we should also think about what are we doing in return. Are we just consuming? Are we just eating? Are we just enjoying? Or are we actually doing something in return as well? This food that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us, this life that Allah has given us, is it just so that we eat, live, be merry, and then we die and that's it? No. This life has been given to us for a reason. This life has been given to us for a purpose. And what is that purpose? To worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if the prophets of Allah were told, eat and do good, the same command is also for us. The same command is also for us. So we see that our deen is a deen of balance. It teaches us the best ways to live in this dunya, and it does not teach monasticism. Where we are commanded to eat well, we are not told to just concentrate on eating well. No. There is also a balance. When you eat well, do well. Both are required. And we see that over here, the command is specifically to the prophets of Allah. But as I mentioned earlier, in reality, who is being addressed? Their followers. And we see that this Muslim ummah as well, we are addressed in the Quran. We have learned in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 172, that Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum. O you have believed, eat of the good things that Allah has provided you. Washkuru, and be grateful. Lillahi in kuntum iyyahu ta'budun, if it is only Him that you worship. So we see that a believer, the true follower of the messengers, what is his way? That he benefits from the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him, and he also does something in return. He also shows gratitude. He also increases in his amal salih. Because when we get all this energy from the food that we eat, should it only be spent on decorating and cleaning our houses? Is that just about it? No. It should also be used in doing something good, in benefiting mankind, in doing something that will please our Creator. And we have learned earlier, Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. Do not do israf. Because when a person does israf in eating, then what does he do? He harms himself, he harms other people as well. وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ, and indeed this, ummatukum, is your ummah. وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ, what does it refer to? Millatul Islam, the religion of Islam. This is ummatukum, this is your ummah. And the word ummah, as you know, has several meanings. Of them is nation, as well as religion. And when the word ummah is used for a nation, what does it mean? It refers to a group of people who are connected by something that is common amongst all of them. Something that is common amongst all of them. So this is your ummah. If we take the meaning of ummah to be your community, meaning the community of the messengers. And we see that all of the messengers, they came at different times. Isn't it so? But what is it that united them all together? It was the same religion that they brought. It was the same belief that they brought. The same mission that all of them came with. And if we take the meaning of ummah to be religion, then this is your religion, meaning the religion of Islam. Ummatan wahida, one religion. Meaning all of the messengers were sent with the same religion. From Nuh alayhi salam to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. All of the prophets and messengers of Allah, the same religion, ummatan wahida. If you remember the ayat that we learned earlier in the surah, where the incident of Nuh alayhi salam was mentioned, of Hud alayhi salam was mentioned, all of the prophets said the same thing to the people. And what was that? That worship Allah. أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ, don't you fear Him. So وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ, and I am your Lord. Meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your Lord. فَاتَّقُونِي, therefore all of you fear me. Meaning, keep fearing me. So we see that all of the messengers of Allah were upon one religion, one deen. And what is that one deen? The deen of Tawheed. The belief in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fact that it is only He who deserves worship. Which is why all of the messengers, they said, أَنِعْبُدُ اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَهٍ غَيْرُهُ. And if this is the case for all of the messengers, then definitely their followers, they must also adopt the same deen. They must not cut up into different factions, rather, they must also observe the same religion that all of the prophets of Allah brought. And that is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. But what happened to their followers? What happened to the people? فَتَقَطَّعُوا أَمْرَهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ زُبُرًا. But the people divided their religion among them into sects. فَتَقَطَّعُوا. تَقَطَّعُوا is from the root letters قَاف طَا عَيْن. تَقْطِيع. تَقَطُّع. Which is to cut something up. To cut it up into pieces. To split it up into pieces. So the followers of the prophets, what did they do? They cut up, they divided up, they split up amrahum, their matter. Which matter? The matter of their religion. So they divided that up, bainahum, between themselves, into zuburan, into pieces. The word zubur is a plural of zubra, with the ta marbuta at the end, zubratun. And zubra is a large piece of something. What is it? A large piece of something. It's also used for a sheet of iron. Remember? Atuni zubar al-hadid. And from this it is also used for a section of something, a part of something. And the word is also used for a book. But what kind of a book? That is written in dark and bold font. Right? So over here, zubur gives the meaning of pieces. So the followers of the messengers, instead of following the religion that the messengers brought, what did they do? They disagreed about their prophets, and they divided up their religion into sects and groups. They divided up their religion into pieces. And they therefore divided up into various sects and groups. And kullu hizbin, every faction, every group. Hizb is used for a group of people. So every group, bima ladayhim, is with what is with them. They are farihun, ones who are very happy, ones who rejoice. Meaning whatever part of religion that they have adopted, and because they cut up their religion to zubur, right? Into pieces. So they adopted some pieces and they left some pieces. So the pieces that they have adopted, they're very happy with them. Farihun. Farihun is a plural of farih. And farih is used for someone who is very happy, someone who is cheerful, someone who is glad. And remember that this word farh is used positively as well as negatively. When used positively, it means when a person is genuinely happy about something. And when negatively, what does it mean? When a person becomes arrogant and he begins to boast and he begins to show off, he becomes proud. So kullu hizbin bima ladayhim farihun. Each group is happy and satisfied with the part of the religion that they have adopted. And with that, they boast over one another, thinking themselves to be better than the other, thinking that they are the only ones who are right and everyone else besides them is wrong. And they are very happy with the part of the religion that they have adopted, in the sense that they use it to support their stance, their position. Because the part of the religion that they have adopted, what does it do? It proves their position. It proves their desires. It supports their opinion. So because of that, they cling to it, they hold on to it, and they neglect the rest of the religion. And with that part of the religion, they're so happy, they're so proud about it, that they begin to boast over others. And they think that because of that, they're the only ones who are right, and everyone else besides them is wrong. So we see that despite the clear teachings of the messengers, what did the people do? They followed their desires. Instead of following what the messengers told them to do, they followed their desires. And as a result, what happened? They cut up into sects regarding their religion. They divided their religion, they divided the book into various parts, adopting some and leaving some. And as a result of that, when it comes to religion, all that they have is just pride. Religion has become a matter of pride only for people. It's not something that grows them spiritually, that takes them closer to Allah. No. It's just something through which they become very proud over others. It's something through which they can boast over others, through which they can feel that they are better than the others. It's not something that grows them spiritually. No way. It's something that makes them proud. When does this happen? You see, when people have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they give importance to every aspect of religion. When a people have fear of Allah in their hearts, then what happens? They give importance to every aspect of religion. Because they consider every aspect of religion to be essential. Whether it has to do with aqeedah, or it has to do with fiqh, or it has to do with, certain personalities, anything. They give importance to every aspect of religion. But when the essence of the deen is forgotten, and the purpose becomes to highlight one's own group, when the purpose becomes to highlight one's own motives, to prove them right, then what happens? A person will only adopt those parts of religion that prove his position, that prove his stance, that support his cause, that support his motives. And the rest of the religion, that doesn't really support them, that doesn't really directly prove them to be right, what happens? They ignore those parts. This is why the Bani Israel, what were they told? أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Do you believe in parts of the book and you deny parts of the book? Because this is what they had done. They hadn't taken their religion as a whole. Only those parts of the religion that showed that they were the chosen people, that showed that they were the best people, that showed that Jannah was for them, they held on to those parts. And the rest of the religion that taught them equality, that taught them about their responsibility, that taught them about accountability in the hereafter, they ignored those parts. So you understand? This is something that Bani Israel also did. Which is why we see that today many times when they're doing da'wah, for example, the Nasara, what do they say? Just believe that Jesus is the Son of God and you'll go to paradise. Nothing else is mentioned. Nothing else is given importance to. Because this belief is what supports them. This belief is what supports their desires. And this is why they cling to it. And they leave the rest of the religion. But unfortunately, this is not just the case with the Yahud and the Nasara. This has also become very, very common amongst the Muslims. That instead of taking their religion as a whole, we will only hold on to some things. For example, if a particular group believes that they are right because they call themselves a certain name, or because they follow a certain book, or because they follow a certain sheikh, what will they think? That they are the ones who are right. And whenever they will talk about the religion, whenever they will tell other people about the religion, what will they talk about? Only certain personalities, only certain books, only certain aspects of fiqh, and the rest of the religion, they don't give much importance to it. Whereas we see that the entire religion is important. The entire religion is essential. You cannot leave parts of it and adopt parts of it. The whole religion must be given importance to. So when a person's motive becomes proving oneself, when religion becomes a matter of pride only, then what happens? A person holds on to only zubur, pieces of the religion. But when a person has fear of Allah, then what happens? He will hold on to every aspect of religion. And we see that there are some Muslims who will only perform their obligations. They will fast, they will pray, they will do the Hajj, they will, do all the obligations that are imposed on them as an individual. But when it comes to helping the poor and the needy, they will not give importance to that. Similarly, there are Muslims who are completely opposite. They will focus entirely on helping the poor and the needy, and when it comes to the obligations that Allah has imposed on us, they're very negligent of them. And when the matter of religion is discussed, they say that this is the most important thing to do. Helping the poor and the needy. Prayer, God knows about it. I have been chosen to help the poor and needy, that is what I do. But we see that every aspect of religion is necessary, and we cannot ignore some and adopt some. Because when the people are mentioned over here in this way, this behavior is being condemned. It's not being appreciated. فَذَرْهُمْ. So Allah says, leave them. فِي غَمْرَتِهِمْ. In their confusion. حَتَّى حِينٍ. For a time. Dharhum, leave them. Let them be. Don't be in their company. Just leave them. Fi ghamratihim, in their confusion. Until when? Until a certain time. The word ghamra is from the root letters ghain, mim, ra. And ghamra is used for confusion. It is used for error, for misguidance. And literally the word ghamra is used for a large and deep body of water. So you can imagine a huge lake that's also very, very deep. Now, if there is a huge body of water and it's also extremely deep, can you see the bottom? Can you see the depth from the surface? No, you cannot. Especially because it's very, very deep. So, from this, the word ghamra is also used for confusion in which a person is drowned, because of which he cannot see the reality. Just as the deep body of water, you cannot see the ground, you cannot see the depth of it. Similarly, it's such confusion in which a person is immersed, in which a person is drowned, and because of that, he cannot see the reality. And what is it that confuses him? Because water, what does it signify? Dunya. Like the example, وَضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا كَمَاءٍ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. So dunya refers to water. So when a person is so busy, so immersed, so involved in dunya and its pleasures, then what happens? It confuses him so much that he cannot see the reality. He cannot perceive it. He cannot understand it. So ghamra is a state of ignorance. It's a state of misguidance, of confusion. And what is this confusion? This confusion is that a person thinks that he knows, but he actually does not know. He thinks that he's right, but he actually is not right. So leave them in this state of theirs, in which they think that they're right, but they're not actually right. They think they know, but they actually don't know. Leave them as they are. Why? Because it is very, very difficult to advise such people. Who? Those who are holding on to only a part of the religion, and because of that they're so proud that they don't give importance to any other part of the religion. And if somebody else is focusing on that part, they will belittle them. They will look down on them. So such people, it's very difficult to advise them. You see people who are distant from the religion, who don't know much, who have no idea. It's still easier to talk to them, advise them, invite them to the religion, make them study the Quran. Isn't it so? Because they don't know. They don't have much knowledge. And perhaps they are thirsty for knowledge. If you speak to them, you will spark some interest, so they will perhaps come. However, people who already know, but they have pride, and they have prejudice, they have bias, and they are holding on to only some aspects of the deen, then how difficult it is to make them understand. How difficult it is to make them realize. How difficult it is to advise them. It's extremely difficult. It's almost like an impossible task. Because someone who does not know much about the deen, you tell them, if they have an open heart, an open mind, they will listen, they will accept. But someone who knows, but still, despite that knowledge, they have a bias, they are prejudiced, then it's extremely difficult to make them understand something. Therefore, the Prophet ﷺ is told, فَذَرْهُمْ فِي غَمْرَتِهِمْ حَتَّى حِينٍ. Just leave them. Leave them. Don't waste your time with them. Because it's extremely difficult to talk to such people, to make them understand. It's almost like a useless effort. Now, primarily this ayah is about who? The Yahud, the Nasara, the Mushrikeen of Makkah. Because the Mushrikeen of Makkah, what were they proud about? They were very proud of the fact that they were of the followers of Ibrahim a.s. They were the caretakers of Kaaba. And they were the custodians of the Haram. They looked after the pilgrims. They looked after the Hujjaj who came to perform the Hajj. And they thought that deen was all about such things. This is why they held on to such traditions, such as looking after the Kaaba, looking after the pilgrims. And when it came to worshipping only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it came to believing and following the Prophet ﷺ, they didn't think that to be important. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Leave them. There's no point in talking to these people because they're extremely arrogant. They're not going to listen. They're not going to accept. Because in their minds, they think that they're very right. They think of themselves to be very righteous, very spiritual. So how can you make a person like this understand? Similarly, what was the problem with the Yahud? They thought that they were the most righteous people. Nobody else was more righteous than them. They were holding on to parts of the religion. And if you tell them, follow the Prophet ﷺ, what was their reaction? No, we are fine. We don't need to follow an ummi. We don't need to follow someone who is from the descendants of Ismail. So, ذَرْهُمْ فِي غَمْرَتِهِمْ حَتَّى حِينٍ. Leave them. There's no point in discussing things with them. There's no point in trying to convince them. Now, does this ayah mean don't even make an attempt? No, of course you do. Which is exactly what the Prophet ﷺ did. But after some time, after putting in so much effort, if you don't see any change in the person, then what should you think? That you're not doing your part? No, you are doing your part. It's just no use talking to such people. We learn in Surah Al-Tariq, ayah number 17, فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. So allow time for the disbelievers, leave them for a while. In Surah Ibrahim, ayah 30, وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا لِيُضِلُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ قُلْ تَمَتَّعُوا فَإِنَّ مَصِيرَكُمْ إِلَى النَّارِ. In Surah Al-Hijr, ayah 3, ذَرْهُمْ يَأْكُلُوا وَيَتَمَتَّعُوا وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. Just leave them, and soon they will find out. And you may have noticed that if, for example, you've ever come across people from Yahud and Nasara, and you are talking to them about the religion, people who don't know much, they are very easy to convince. Isn't it so? Because they have this interest in the religion, they have questions, they want to understand, they don't have any biases. If you speak to them, you discuss with them, you tell them, they will show a positive reaction. But for example, a person who has been trained to be biased, no matter how much time you spend with them, you can spend hours and hours discussing matters with them, no change. No positive reaction at all. So such people, فَذَرْهُمْ فِي غَمْرَتِهِمْ حَتَّى حِينٍ. And حَتَّى حِينٍ also indicates until a certain time. Some have said until a certain time means until they die. So basically forget it. And others have said that give them some time. Like in Surah Al-Tariq, as I mentioned, فَمَهِلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. Give them time, leave them for some time, and then go back to them. أَيَحْسَبُونَ. Do they think أَنَّمَا نُمِدُّهُمْ بِهِ مِنْ مَالٍ وَبَنِينَ. Do they think that what we extend to them of wealth and children, يَحْسَبُونَ, they. Who does they refer to? Those who are described in the previous ayat. Those who are holding on to parts of the religion, instead of following the religion that the prophets brought to them, they're just holding on to certain parts, being very proud of themselves. So do these people, do they think that annama, that indeed that which, numidduhum, we extend them, bihi, with it. Meaning, do they think that what we supply them continuously of, numiddu, from imdad, mim dal dal, and what does that mean to? Help, to assist, to reinforce, to provide continuously. So, what we're providing them continuously, mim malin wa banin, of wealth and children. That why are they in this ghamra? Why are they in this heedlessness, in this confusion, in this misguidance, in this error? Is it because they think that whatever wealth and children we're giving them in this dunya is because nusari'u lahum fil khayrat, is because we are hastening for them good things? That they are so good, that they're so righteous, that we're giving them the reward even in this dunya? So, they think that they are right because they have been given so much wealth and children by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this dunya. Many people, what do they think? That if they have wealth, if they have children, Allah is happy with them. What they are doing is right. Because if they were wrong, then Allah would certainly punish them. Then He would certainly deprive them. And people also think that if a person is suffering from a loss of wealth, loss of children, then that is because they have committed a major sin. Allah is very upset with them. But what do we see over here? That when a person is given abundant blessings of this dunya, that does not mean that Allah is happy with him necessarily. No, it's not a sign of that. Because أَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّمَا نُمِدُّهُمْ بِهِ مِنْ مَالٍ وَبَنِينَ? Is it because نُسَارِعُ لَهُمْ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ, we are hastening for them the good things? That they're so righteous that we can't wait to give them the reward. So even in this dunya we're giving them reward? Allah says no. بَلْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Rather, they don't even perceive. They don't even realize that this wealth and children is not actually reward. What is it? This is a test. This is istidraj. That Allah is gradually leading them to punishment. Because what happens when a person is immersed in his dunya, then is he going to think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is he going to think about reforming himself? No. Especially if he thinks that this wealth and children I have because I'm very righteous. He's not going to think about reforming himself. He's going to continue to think that he's right. So, بَلْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. They don't realize that they're actually being led to their punishment. So when a person is in this state that he thinks he is wealthy because Allah is happy with him, he does not see his mistakes anymore. He does not see his faults anymore. And therefore, there is no room for improvement. There is no room for change, for reform. We learn in Surah Al-Kahf, ayah 36, where the man of the two gardens, what did he say? وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةَ قَائِمَةً. Because Allah is so happy with me, I have so much wealth, and actually I think that there's no day of judgment. وَلَئِن رُدِدتُّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي لَأَجِدَنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا مُنْقَلَبًا. And if I do ever go back to my Lord, then definitely I'll get something better. Why? Because I have so much now, which is a sign that Allah is happy with me. So if I go back, Allah will give me more. We learned in Surah Saba, ayah 35, that the mushrikeen of Makkah, they would say, نَحْنُ أَكْثَرُ أَمْوَالًا وَأَوْلَادًا وَمَا نَحْنُ بِمُعَذَّبِينَ. That we are more than believers in wealth and children, and we are not going to be punished. So a person, what does he think usually? That if he has blessings, Allah is happy with him. And that he is very smart. And that he is very intelligent. He considers his mistakes to be good deeds. He considers his faults to be good. Therefore, he doesn't even think of reforming himself. And this was the mentality of the people of Makkah as well. They suffered from the same problem. They used to think that we live in Makkah, in the Haram, the best place that is on the earth. We are so successful. We are the caretakers of the Kaaba. And we are so generous towards the people who come to perform Hajj. And we have been blessed with so much wealth and children. Then definitely we're right. So they would say to the Prophet ﷺ that if such is the case with us, why do you tell us that we are wrong? Why do you tell us that we have to change our ways from those of our forefathers? So it was this pride, it was this arrogance that prevented them from obeying the Prophet ﷺ. We learn in Surah At-Tawbah, ayah 55, فَلَا تُعْجِبْكَ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ بِهَا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَتَزْهَقَ أَنفُسُهُمْ وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ. Don't be impressed by their wealth and children. This is only punishment for them. This is only punishment. In Surah Al-Imran, ayah 178, we learn, وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ لِأَنفُسِهِمْ. They should never think that this is good for them. إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. That all this dunya that they're being given, this is so that they can increase in their sin. And eventually for them is a humiliating punishment. So, we see that whenever a person has been given wealth and children, he should never think that Allah is happy with me. And what I'm doing is definitely something that is right. Meaning he should not be fooled by that. He should not be deceived by that. Rather, at every stage in life, whether a person has a lot or a person has less, what should he focus on? His actions, his behavior, his iman. Is it according to the Quran and Sunnah? Does it need improvement? So, a person should realize that the wealth and children, what are they? They're a test. They're not necessarily signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's approval. Necessarily. Remember,